Okay, we are working on volume. Oh, this is a new unit. I need a new color. Let's go with blue. Volume. And we're going to do today, we're going to do cylinders, cones, and spheres. And we're going to continue that on 2 pages. We're going to do them all together. So you have the formulas to work with. So today on volume, it is just really focused on substitution. So we're going to be doing a lot of substitution with these formulas. So it is really helpful to have these formulas written on another piece of paper, so like inside of your notes, and having your notes out and available while you're working on these problems, because you will be substituting and using a calculator. And if you have your calculator ready and you substitute, you're good to go. So again, it's volume of cylinders, cones, and spheres. And so these are 3D shapes, 3-dimensional shapes, right? Things that you can physically pick up. And they all involve some type of circle. Cones and spheres. And so you're going to be, because they involve a circle, you're going to be using the pi value, which is something that we're going to go over in our notes. And let me get my pins ready. And we are good to go. So volume of cylinders, cones, and spheres, right? So these are all 3D shapes. And they all involve circles of some type, right? So a cylinder, the base, the bottom is a circle. So if I have, I'm going to draw a cylinder. So 2 parallel lines, and then I curve the bottom, and I curve the top, and I continue that curve on the top. And I'm going to put dotted for the background. So this is a cylinder. A cone is 2 sides of a triangle. Then I'm going to curve the bottom, and I'll put dots in the back for a cone. And a sphere is a circle. And put dots around the back for a sphere. So these are flat 2-dimensional drawings of the 3-dimensional shape. So we're going to be working with these shapes, and we are going to be finding the volume. Volume is the amount of space inside. I'm going to skip down here a couple lines because my formula is above this. So volume is the amount of space, or the measurement of the space inside a 3D shape. The label for volume is cubic. So if it's inches, it's going to be inches cubed. Or if it's centimeters, it's going to be centimeters cubed. It's measuring how many cubes, how many 3D shapes, how many 3D pieces will fit inside these shapes. That's volume. So the formula for volume of each one of these. For a cylinder, because the base, right, times the height. So base times the height, but the base, the bottom, is a circle. So the area of the bottom, again, volume is usually base times height, but the base is a shape, not just a number. So the bottom is a circle, so we're going to do pi r squared, and pi we know as 3.14, and r is the radius. So it's pi r squared, which is the base, the bottom of the shape, times the height, how tall it is. So you're going to be given a radius and you're going to be given a height. So you'd do 3.14 times the radius, the distance from the center to the edge of the circle, times the height. For a cone, it is, again, a circle for the base times how tall it is. So again, we're going to do pi, because the bottom is a circle, r squared, because that's the area of a circle, times the height. However, it's a cone. It's not the same as a cylinder. So we're going to multiply by 1/3. If you don't have a fraction button on your calculator, you're going to do pi 3.14 r squared, radius squared, times the height. And then instead of having a 1/3 button, we're going to do divided by 3, because multiplying by 1/3 is the same as dividing by 3. So the sphere is a little bit different. So we have a circle. Again, we're based on a circle, so we're always going to deal with pi when we're doing a circle. And there's also a radius, which is from the center to the edge. So it's going to be pi r cubed, though, this time, because we have a radius going to the side, we have one coming forward at us, and we also have one that's going up and down, right? A sphere is kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to imagine all of those dimensions. And it actually has a fraction in front of it too, and it's 4/3. So if you don't have a calculator that has a fraction button, you are going to do pi 3.14 times radius cubed, which is 3 times. And then you're going to multiply by 4 and divide by 3. So this is the formula if you do not have a fraction button on your calculator. And we're just going to do some practice with this and just kind of go through and get some practice on. I'm going to show you how to use the calculator on your phone and a regular calculator if you have that. So I'm going to draw. We're going to do some cylinder practice right now. So here's my cylinder. And on this cylinder, if I say that my radius is 3 and the height is 12. So I'm going to label again. I'm going to talk about the radius is 3 and the height is 12. And for a cylinder, the formula is pi r squared times h. So what I'm going to do is 3.14, because that's the number we use for pi, times the radius is 3 squared times the height, which is 12. So I'm going to grab my calculator. So on regular calculator on your phone, 3.14 times, and on this calculator I don't have a 3 squared button, so I'm actually going to do 3 times 3, because 3 times 3 means 3 squared, times the height. If you want to turn it sideways, you could do 3.14 times 3 squared times the height. So my answer, my volume, is 339.12. Oh, I didn't give us labels. Let's say that these were inches. Inches cubed. All right, we're going to do another one. Let's go with here's my cylinder. And I'm going to actually on this one say that the height is 4 centimeters. And I'm going to give you the diameter all the way across. And the diameter is 18 centimeters. So again, the formula is pi r squared h. So I have to know my radius and I have to know my height. And I know that my height is 4, but it doesn't give me a radius, it gives me a diameter. So you need to remember that the diameter is double the radius. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. And if you need help remembering that, here's my circle. I remember it because a diameter goes all the way across and the radius is halfway across. Right? So half of this would be 9. So make sure that you're really paying attention. Do they give you the radius because it's half the distance? Or did they give you the diameter and you have to find the radius? So again, we're going to do pi r squared times h. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 3.14 times 9 squared times 4, which is the height. Again, if you don't have an exponent button, you can do 3.14 times, and then 9 squared, so I'm going to do 9 times 9 times 4 to get my answer. Or if you have the squared button, you can do 3.14 times 9 squared times 4, and you will get the same answer, which is 1017.36 centimeters cubed in this problem. So that's how you use for a cylinder, the formula for a cylinder. So now let's go over here and let's talk cones. So again, a cone is going to look like this in the three-dimensional representation. It's going to have a height and a radius. And let's say the height is 9 inches and the radius is 3 inches. So the formula for a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times h times the height. And that's because it's 1/3 of the size of a cylinder. This is the formula for a cylinder, and 1/3 of a cylinder makes a cone. So I am going to substitute my values. I am going to do pi 3.14. Have 1/3 out front too. The radius is 3 in this cone times the height, which is 9. If you do not have a fraction button on your calculator, you're going to do pi r squared times h divided by 3. That's the no fraction button on your calculator. So to do this problem, I will do 3.14 times my radius is 3 squared times the height divided by 3. Again, if you want to use your exponent button, 3.14 times 3 squared times 9 divided by 3. And so my volume is 84.78 inches cubed. Let's do another practice. And this one is 10 centimeters. And let's do 10 centimeters again. So we have 1/3 pi r squared. And remember over here, my radius was 3 and my height was 9. In this problem, we need to find our radius and our height. My height is 10, but it doesn't give me the radius, it gives me the diameter. If I'm given the diameter, I divide by 2 to find the radius, which is 5. And I'm going to do pi r squared times height divided by 3. You could multiply by 1/3 if you would like. So that turns into pi 3.14 times the radius is 5 squared times the height, which is 10, divided by 3, or times 1/3. All of that is the same. It doesn't matter. 3.14 times 5 times 5, 5 squared, times 10, the height, divided by 3. 261.6 repeating, remember, ignore that 7, centimeters cubed. All right, on to spheres. So we have a sphere. And in a sphere, the only measurement we typically get is the radius. Let's go with this one is 6 inches. There's no height to a sphere. There's just the radius, which in this problem is 6. The formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. So this one's different. If you do not have a calculator, you are going to do pi r cubed times 4 divided by 3. So for this example, I'm going to do 3.14 times 6 cubed times 4 divided by 3. So 3.14 times 6, 6 again, 6 again, times 4 divided by 3. Or if you have a cubed button, 3.14 times 6 cubed times 4 divided by 3. So my answer would be 904.32 inches cubed. All right, last example. For a sphere, if they give us the diameter of a sphere, we still have to find the radius. Let's say that this diameter is, let's go with 17 inches. So 17 divided by 2, because the diameter is all the way across, so the radius is half of that, 18.5, 18.5. So I'm going to do pi r cubed. Remember, a sphere is cubed. The other ones are squared, x or r squared, a sphere is r cubed, times 4 divided by 3, since I do not have a calculator that has a fraction button. I'm going to do 3.14 times 8.5 cubed times 4 divided by 3. 3.14 times, now I'm going to do this 8.5 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times 4 divided by 3. Again, if you want to use that cubed button, you're going to do 3.14 times 8.5 cubed times 4 divided by 3. And so if I could round this answer too. I could do 2,571.137, or you could do 2,571.136 repeating. Inches cubed. Inches cubed. Right, either one of these answers would be correct. It's going to tell you on your paper what to round to if you need to. But again, it is just really focusing today on substitution, calculator skills, substitution, putting the numbers in the right place, and just that practice of making sure that the values are correctly put into the formula when you use your calculator.